Hello, hello. I'm a little bit under the weather. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I will be over this head cold, flu, whatever it is that I'm suffering from. But right now, I'm not amazing, so hopefully this mic is picking up enough and I don't sound too crazy. So we're having a bit of a sit-down, chill chat today, a bit of a evaluation, a home stretch, goals. September to me always feels like, I guess it started with, as a kid you'd be going back to school and there's this kind of reset period, but as I've become an adult it feels more like okay, the changing of seasons, coming into winter, what is it that I want to see out this year with? And so I thought we would talk about that now, because back earlier this year I made a list of trails that I wanted to walk, and might as well check in and see how I'm doing, see what I've done maybe instead, and what is still achievable before the end of this year. Okay, so start with the good and easy stuff. I listed 6 trails, and I have done 2 of them. So I've done the Bangor Trail in Mayo, and I've done the Avonmore Way in Wicklow. And I'm really, really glad I got to do the Bangor Trail. It's been on my list for so many years. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think anyone should underestimate it as a trail. It was difficult. And I think we got incredibly lucky, like weather-wise, everything. It's a part of a dark sky nature reserve, and we had a cloudless night, myself and Pauline. It was amazing. And then the Avonmore Way I did more recently. I did it, was it last month? Was it in August, I think? It was. I had the opportunity to do it last winter, and I'm really glad I held off until the summer, because it has so much deciduous forestry that really makes the trail. Like, I think late spring as everything's coming into leaf throughout the summer, and then autumn is also probably a really gorgeous time to do that trail. But I think just winter didn't make sense, and I'm glad I held off. Number 3 on my list was the Letterkenny Loop in Mayo, which is also in the Wild Neffin National Park. And this one I actually almost ended up doing back at the end of March, beginning of April. But there were forest fires in Mayo, and that whole area was closed. So I didn't get to do the trail back then. And Mayo is a notorious, at least for me, infamously terrible place for midges. So I knew I wasn't going to go back there in the summer. So this one is definitely still going to be, I think, a hike that I get done this year. It's a short enough loop, but it has some really nice Adirondack camping shelters on it. So I might make it into a little overnight trip, test out some of my winter camping gear. Yeah, that one, although I haven't got to yet, is still very much on the cards. Yeah, I think the further down I get on this list, the Miners Way in Wicklow is another trail that I think will work in the autumn to early winter. It's not super deciduous forest based. It goes through the different mining valleys, so I think it goes through Glendasan, Glendalough and Glenmalure, and kind of takes in the history of the mining in that area. So I think that should still be nice for another little while, but probably one that I want to get done sooner rather than later. So we'll see what I can do. It is a linear trail as well, which always makes it a little tricky, but fingers crossed. The Tar Pordrig in Mayo is number 5 out of 6 that I have written down, and that's a 35-kilometre trail. So for filming, that's 2 days really. Filming just takes longer, and I'm unsure. I know the route is very similar to the Kilpatrick Heritage Trail, which Carl and I have done, and I can't decide. That one I think is going to be a little bit of a stretch goal for this year. And then finally number 6, St Finbarr's Path in Cork, another 35k trail, but much more hilly route. I don't think I'm going to get done in 2025. I think that one is going to have to be pushed out to 2026. However, something I didn't include in my original list that I knew was going to happen was walking the Camino Frances this year. So back when I filmed my video setting out what my goals were, I knew that my dad and I were going to go. At that point, I knew my dad was also injured. He was suffering with some foot pain issues. And so I didn't know if we were going to go for a week or two, or the whole month, all 6 weeks that we were gone for. I didn't know what we were going to be able to do. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make a video out of it or not. So I didn't want to mention it and put extra pressure on the trip. But that was definitely one of the big goals for this year ticked off. I'm really happy with the video I've made of that trip in the end. And I've put out the first kind of little footnotes video on the architecture of the Camino. I have one or maybe two more of those in the works, we shall see. But I'll scatter them between more of the Irish videos that I'm making now that I'm home. But yeah, that was definitely, I guess, the big trip of this year. Something I haven't made much progress on, and I think I still can during the autumn, are the county high points. So I think I have about half of them done. So far this year I've only managed to tick off one new one, Loch Crew or Cairn T, Meath's county high point, and getting to do that on the solstice. Was it the solstice or the equinox? Solstice, right? Anyway, made it really special. Was definitely a really good way to experience what could otherwise be a very simple hill. I think there are still definitely a few that I can get done this autumn or winter that will be spectacular no matter what time of year, like Errigal in Donegal, Sliabh Donard over in the Mournes. So cross your fingers that I get a couple more of those ticked off. It would be nice to get at least 2 more done. That would be the goal, I think. Not a crazy goal, but I think that's an achievable goal, you know. And there are more day hikes that I have on my list to do this year. There are a few down in Tipperary, the Knockmeal Downs, which isn't too far from where my mum lives. They have some new looped trails there that take in the start of the Tipperary Heritage Way or the Avonmore Way, that area of the Knockmeal Downs, which is really beautiful, and I think deserves a little bit of a spotlight. So hopefully I'll get to film 1 or 2 of those new trails down there. And so the Avonmore Way has been part of a development to kind of build a trail corridor down East Wicklow. Something like this. I remember reading about it first, or hearing about it first, about 8 years ago. So my memory is probably a little bit patchy. But I think it is actually coming together. Because I remember so long ago finding a waymarker, an Elvis, a yellow walking man, on Bray Head, and being like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here by yourself. Being really confused by that. And it's because they wanted to link Bray Head down the east coast, or like the east side of the Wicklow Mountains. And so there now is, I think you do the Bray Head like National Looped Walk. I think that's the official part of that section. And then there's the Belmont Way, which I think is 5 to 6 kilometres over to Kilmacanogue. And then from there you have the Sugarloaf Way, which is another, let's say, 7k. And then south of there you have the reservoirs. So I think they really have managed to link up. I don't know if that would then link down to Lara. No, there might be another one in there somewhere. But yeah, basically there's a whole new batch of trails that are cropping up there. So who knows, maybe if I get a day or two in October, I'll go over and try and do a couple of those. Because that's just a really cool new addition to the trail network over there. That was, really exciting when I found some of the info boards for that it's like, I knew it's kind of been in development for quite a while, but to actually start seeing things on the ground makes a big difference. There is also the Bray Coastal Camino, which you do from Bray all the way into St. James's Gate in town, so it's probably about a 30k walk. Definitely take the whole day, and it is all paved surfaces, more or less. Erica, who is an Irish outdoor content creator, recently did it, and she said that I think there was about 6 places that you could collect stamps along the way, so at least you do have kind of rough points to aim for, because I don't think it's waymarked. I think you kind of build your own route around the 6 stamps, but I feel like you could probably build quite a nice route up along that way. So yeah, I think we will definitely get 4 out of the 6 of my original list, and then a few more interesting extras. When I'll get the county high points finished, it will probably stretch into 2026. Let's be honest. I still have some of the bigger ones to film, such as Carrauntoohil, Lugnaquilla, Muillery in Mayo, which are all mountains I've already done before, just not filmed them for you. And I want to make sure I do a good job of sharing them, because they're proper mountains that deserve respect. So I want to do a good job of both showcasing them really well, but also making sure people understand the risks associated, I guess. I did get to go up Carrauntoohil earlier this summer with Kerry Climbing. They're a guiding company. A childhood friend of mine had booked in to go climb Carrauntoohil with them as a bucket list item. So I was like, hey, might as well sign up and take notes on how they guide that route. And it was really, really interesting, really good to learn. Really useful, I think, for future, as I progress through my own mountain leader journey. Really, really grateful to have these moments to kind of pick up new learnings from different people. I think there are definitely certain trails and routes that lend themselves to autumn and winter. Like doing St. Kevin's Way last autumn was beautiful. So I think there's definitely some more routes out there that will work for this time of year. If you have any suggestions, do let me know. I am always compiling a longer trails list. It is also nice. I am starting to do more work as a lowland leader, as an outdoor guide, bring people on trails, whether it be like Bray Head or Hoath, or there's a loop that I'll be leading in Mayo in October. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much to everybody who supports us on Patreon and helps keep Tough Souls going. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in our next video. Okay, bye. My tummy is making so much noise. I hope this mic can't pick it up. Okay.